In July of 1988, the center of the universe for the Maryland suburbs was Merriweather Post Pavilion, an outdoor amphitheater surrounded by woods. It was the exact spot Bob Dylan's sprawling, never-ending tour was setting up camp for the night. 19-year-old Stu was definitely going to the show, but he wasn't there for the legendary folk singer. Stu was completely obsessed with the opening act, a Welsh alternative rock band called The Alarm. There was a slight logistical hurdle. Stu had asked every single person he knew to go with him, and absolutely no one wanted a ticket. He spent the afternoon standing in his own band's clubhouse, a classic wood-paneled basement belonging to his friend Small. He pitched the concert to his drummer and got shot down yet again. He was staring down the barrel of a major summer night, holding an extra ticket, completely stranded on his own musical island. But someone else was listening. Small's mother, an attractive blonde woman Stu barely knew, happened to overhear the entire miserable conversation from the stairs. She chimed in, told Stu she would love to see Bob Dylan, and asked if she could have the ticket. Suddenly, Stu wasn't missing the show. Instead, he was facing the uniquely terrifying prospect of taking his friend's mom on a Friday night rock and roll date. They pulled into the grassy parking lots outside the pavilion, right into a sea of lawn chairs and open trunks. To Stu's total surprise, she had packed a cooler full of drinks for a tailgate. She treated him like an actual conversationalist, rather than just her son's goofy friend. The awkwardness evaporated in the summer heat. Long before they even crossed the ticket gates, Stu felt entirely at ease. When they finally found their seats inside the massive pavilion, they had struck gold. They were dead center in the aisle, right in front of the venue's mixing desk, the main control panel for the audio engineers. The chatter died out as the house lights cut to black. The alarm walked out, the amplifiers kicked on, and the rest of the amphitheater faded away for Stu. He looked around and quickly realized he was one of maybe 10 people in a crowd of thousands who actually recognized the band on stage. He didn't care. He was up out of his fold-down seat, jumping in the center aisle and screaming along to every lyric. It is a profoundly vulnerable thing to lose your mind to a song while surrounded by seated strangers, and your drummer's mother. Halfway through the set, the band started playing a track called Rescue Me. The loud, driving guitars dropped out, leaving a quiet, atmospheric spoken-word breakdown. Lead singer Mike Peters grabbed his microphone, walked to the edge of the stage, and kept right on going. He marched directly up the concrete center stairs into the crowd, his eyes scanning the rows and the dark. It didn't take long for him to find the one teenager in a jean jacket jumping out of his skin. Peters walked straight down Stu's row and planted his heavy boot on the empty seat right between Stu and his date. The two of them were inches apart. Peters looked the 19-year-old dead in the eyes and delivered the quiet spoken lines. "People tell you you're too this or you're too that." For 30 seconds, the distance between the crowd and the performers simply disappeared. The song crashed to an end. The stage lights swept up into the pavilion roof, and the people sitting in the surrounding rows slowly turned their heads towards Stu. They stared at him in quiet shock, asking if he actually knew the music they had all just witnessed. Stu caught his breath, smiled, and told them the band was awesome. Over a single 45-minute set, he went from the odd kid out to the undisputed music authority of section center right. They settled back into their seats and stayed for Bob Dylan's entire performance, capping off a thoroughly successful Friday night out. Stu drove home that night knowing exactly why he bought the ticket in the first place. Because sometimes, if you have the nerve to stand up in the aisle and sing loud enough, the music will step off the stage and find you.